It was a day like any other. I woke up with bleary eyes to the sound of my phone ringing. On the screen was a message from Emily, who I had been with for 4 years. We had lived together for 2 years, and, although we weren't married, our life seemed stable and real. We chose furniture together, split the rent, got a cat, we named her Mocha, and at night, curled up on the couch, we talked about the future. It wasn't a perfect union, but it was real. At least that's what I thought. The message read, "We're pregnant! I love you. I can't wait to start this new chapter of our lives, baby." 3 exclamation points. My brain shut down. My mouth went dry. For a full minute, I just sat there staring at the screen, not knowing what I was supposed to feel. Pregnant? Emily and I hadn't even talked about kids seriously. Okay, we joked about names, but we never talked about it seriously. But damn, it hit me like a gust of wind, unexpected and a little overwhelming. I didn't know what to say. My fingers flew across the keyboard as my emotions fought for control. Finally, I typed, "Wow. I'm surprised, but in a good way. We'll figure this out together. I love you." I hit send and just sat there staring at the screen, waiting for the little dots to appear. But they didn't. Not then, not later. Not even a smiley face in response. But I didn't write back. She was probably busy, upset, or just as shocked. I kissed her on the cheek as I left for work. She was lying with her face buried in her pillow, her hair tousled, breathing evenly. Finally, I saw her and was so happy, but at the same time confused. A baby? Us? It didn't seem real, but it could be. My thoughts raced 1,000,000 miles an hour, running through 1,000,000 scenarios. Cribs, baby names, doctor visits, and money. I was scared, yes, but at the same time, full of hope. The second piece of news came right before lunch. I was sitting in line at a coffee shop scrolling through my Instagram feed, just to keep myself busy for an hour. But then I saw it, a post from Chloe, Emily's best friend. In bright, cheerful letters it read, "Congratulations to Emily and Jason. You're going to be the most amazing parents." My heart sank. The photo he attached was even worse than I could have imagined. It was Emily in the same pajamas she had worn that morning, holding hands with a guy I had never seen before in my life. Tall, muscular, rough. He had his arm around her, and she had her hand on his stomach. His hand was resting very gently on hers. Jason. I clicked on his profile. It was public. There were photos of him and Emily everywhere, on walks, at brunch, at a concert. One taken 2 weeks ago was captioned, "Life finally has meaning with her." My head was spinning. I was caught in a whirlwind of sounds, whispers, clinking glasses, conversations in the cafe, street noise, people's voices. Everything seemed dull, as if I were underwater. I stumbled on the sidewalk and forgot my coffee, grabbing a lamppost and trying to breathe. I called her, straight to voicemail. I texted her, "Who is Jason?" Nothing. I drove home like a maniac, my hands shaking, my heart pounding, the truth oozing out of every pore as if I were surrounded by glass. When I walked in, she was sitting on the couch with her phone in her hand, calm, relaxed, as if nothing had happened. "Did you get my message?" I asked. She looked up. "Yes. I wanted to call you. I just didn't know how." "Who is Jason?" I asked again, this time in a quiet, tense voice. She paled, her face turning white. "You saw Chloe's post." I nodded, clenching my jaw. She opened her lips, trying to say something, but no words came out. Then she added, "I didn't want you to find out this way." I felt like I couldn't breathe. "Find out what? That you've been cheating on me? That the baby isn't mine?" She started crying. Her voice was shaking. "It started recently, a few months ago. I didn't want it to happen, even though I felt that something was wrong between us. Whatever it was, something had died. You were always working. Jason gave me my life back." I wanted to scream, to throw something at him. He killed the children, and he's sitting here in my classroom. But I couldn't do anything, just stare at her like a stranger. Back to life? I repeated in a hollow voice. So you just kept seeing someone else while you were sleeping in my bed? She put her hand on me, and I recoiled. Please! Number, don't touch me. My voice trembled. You wrote to me that we were pregnant. Was that some kind of sick joke? I was scared, she said, crying. I didn't want to hurt you. You already hurt me, I replied sharply. You lied. You used me. You made me believe we had a future even while you were building one with someone else. She tried to understand, crying on the phone, trying to piece together a lie wrapped in emotional explanations. But I wasn't listening anymore. My life was in pieces, and she was holding the hammer. I grabbed my bag and left. I didn't slam the door. I didn't yell. I just left. Stunned, broken, and betrayed. The next few weeks were dark. I stayed with my brother. I barely spoke. I ate when I needed to. I slept when I could. My phone was silent, but every night the pain growled in my chest. I was literally obsessed with looking at Jason's Instagram, torturing myself with the life they had built behind my back. A week later, she slipped a letter under the door. It was short. There wasn't even a hint of the remorse I had hoped for. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. She wrote that she felt a real loss and realized she loved him differently. Jason was everything she needed. She was afraid to talk to me because she knew she had done something wrong. She wrote that she wanted me to get better. Get better? I laughed sadly, alone in the dark living room. There, with the man who was the father of my child, surrounded by congratulations and baby clothes, while I was in the kitchen where my lovers had lived, looking at the broken pieces of a love that had never been. I didn't reply. What could I say? Eventually, I stopped spying on them. I blocked them both. I deleted our old photos. I went back to therapy. I returned to the hobbies I had abandoned. I began to recover, slowly, stubbornly. A few months later, I ran into Chloe at a bookstore. She frowned, not knowing what to say. I walked past her. She called out to me, but I didn't turn around. I was no longer her responsibility. It was over. I gave myself that. Emily's betrayal didn't break me. It remade me. It made me sharper, wiser, stronger. I don't hate her. Not anymore. Poor thing, poor girl, poor baby. She couldn't love without lying. I don't want her to be unhappy, but I don't wish her well. I want her to disappear. From my head, from my heart, from everything. There are nights when I dream of that morning, of that message, of those 3 words. We're having a baby. It was the last lie she told me, and the first truth I couldn't reject. I'm not the person I used to be. That person was naive, full of hope, soft where I should have been tough. And now I know better. Now I trust more slowly. Now I see more clearly. The past doesn't haunt me. It taught me. And I survived it. The end